I know I shouldn't feed into it, but there was, I think on my last like injury update thing, I made the templates. As I mentioned last week, I made the templates. Um, Someone was like, I think we signed Fishlock for a season too long. I was like, and there was something about Lou in there too. And I'm like, I'm just tired every like the last few years of Sounders fan. And don't get me wrong, it's good that there are Sounders fans who are actually paying attention to a club that's semi-consistent in this city and not just one that needs to turn things around in the summer and go on a long run. Um, I think there are a lot of Sounders fans who don't, with respect, don't know what they're talking about with the originals in Fishlock and Barnes, and they see them get knocked up, or they're seeing them at the end of their careers, and that's what they're taking them for. And don't get me wrong, I haven't covered them for their entirety. I was watching them in middle school at Memorial Stadium. Calm down.
Same.
Um, yeah. So, but like seeing there really should just be a Fishlock cam during games. So even on the bench to
She is
see
your player coach, 100%.
she's your player coach, that's your engine, like it, and not only that, but to say sign her like for a season too long, not realizing the context of this year for her is just it's blasphemous. I'm starting to use the word blasphemous more often.
Okay.
Um, and same with Lou. Like again, you can watch any rain match with Lou Barnes, and you talked about this last week with um
The five back?
excuse me. Well, I think just with having her like to coordinate the defense,
Yeah, her
right?
voice and
Because
her
of how
knowledge.
out of sorts they can be,
Yeah.
right? Like that's an underrated factor. Seeing like she's not going to be able to keep up one-on-one with the players coming down the wing for Kansas City or Orlando. I don't necessarily need her to be able to do that.
Well, and that's, to be fair, that's never been her thing. She has
Yeah.
it's speed has never been
No.
that would be like saying that like Megan Rapinoe's thing was being faster than her opponents. It was not. It never
Yeah.
was. It
So
was the
stuff like
footwork or the
that.
services and the set pieces. Like Lou Barnes, one, her set piece services have been pleasantly impressive. And, you know, sometimes, yes, it is an issue to have a slower defender. The good thing is there are a lot of fast ones around her, and there is no one who is better at timing their tackle to stop a player who is faster than them, right? Like there is no one better at accommodating for their lack of pace. Like
And
you cannot convince me that Lou Barnes is not one of the best defenders the NWSL has ever seen.
that's not a debate. Yeah, no, easy. And I mean like Laura Harvey isn't here to play like participation trophy ball. Like
No, no.
Lou Barnes earns 20,000 plus minutes in the league through earning it, right?
Yeah,
Like this.
Laura
So I
loves her
don't know.
players, but she is not giving anybody pity minutes or,
Oh,
like big name minutes. She is giving them their
yeah,
minutes
big name
because they have
minutes. Yeah,
earned them. Like,
yeah,
yes, they have a relationship with Laura, but also Lou and Jess would be the first to be like, they're playing better than me. Like, yes, they should get the minutes. Like, though that's the kind of players they are. They're not they're not selfish. They're not particularly full of themselves, and they are always 100% all in for the team. And is it very unfortunate that Jess has not been healthy lately and is getting older? Yes, absolutely. Does she also 100% deserve to finish her career in a Rain jersey? Yes. And if she doesn't, I will actually be angry. Um, unless she wants to like go play at home in Wales for like a year or something, like whatever, we'll allow that. But like she is a Rain player through and through. And even when she's not on I mean, it's the same thing that Maddie Darlene talked about when Lindy and Dolo was injured. Like, yes, it sucked that she was injured, but you still had Lindy and Dolo in practice, teaching your forwards what to do.
yeah.
Sam Meza still has Jess Fishlock in practice, like helping her, teaching her. Like, and Jess is a brilliant tactical mind. Like her, the reason her and Laura have, I think, got along for so many years is because they are very similarly tactically minded and fascinated by tactics. And, you know, some people don't like when you maybe have an older player to be that kind of player coach, but I think that you don't see a lot of winning teams that don't have one of those. Was certainly like when Pino made the 2023 World Cup roster, people weren't a fan of that, and sort of thought it was a waste of a roster spot. But experience matters, knowledge matters, and
Yep.
it's not like she doesn't still play at a high level. If you watched her against North Carolina and that goal that they scored, she is still playing at a very high level. She just, her it's not been lucky with injuries lately, and it's really unfortunate. But she's gonna, I mean, she'll play 60, 70 minutes a game for Wales in the Euros. They'll probably have to manage it a little bit because of how close the games are, but she is still a force to be reckoned with, and make no mistake about that. So, I think it's hard because she's not been available. So it's easier to say that they signed her for 1 year too long or whatever. But, I think another thing that comes to mind is Laura when they signed Emery Adamas, talking about how she wished she had a year with Megan
Uh,
before she retired because that's the player you want to learn from. And right now, I feel like Sam Meza is learning from Jess Fishlock and getting so much out of it. I think even Has is probably learning from her, and obviously she gets that from the national team as well. But
but this is such like a more day to day, like, national team, right? That's camps
yeah,
every what few months.
yeah, this is like you are getting one of the best players of all time, helping you every single day,
Yep.
encouraging you every single day, helping you figure out what the right decisions are, just encouraging you to keep going. I
Being
mean,
around you off the field too.
yeah, and Jess is one of those players that really will give her all on the field, and I think that even when she's not on the field, I think that translates. You know, it's like I think it was Lynn talking about the running that Sam Meza does every game, and you see how
Yeah.
much she runs, and you see the efforts that she puts in, and you see her making these big blocks and everything, and it makes you want to do that too. You're like, if they can do it, I can do it because I'm not going to be putting in less effort than my teammate, right? So I don't think as much as it sucks to not have her on the pitch, I think Sam Meza has been great, and I think Jess Fishlock is a legend that you keep on your team if you can.
Yeah. No, again, I know it's delusion and I try to not feed into like dumb delusion, but I just, especially because I've seen this a few times, but I haven't remembered seeing it since we've done this show. And I was like, let me bring this to someone who understands the magnitude of these players and let her go off on it. Right. Um, yeah, to go back to I guess kind of put a bow on this whole thing, right? And finish up with this sort of Jess and their impact, right? Like I remember, I think it was some point earlier in the season, or it might have been last year, hell, but it was after a match, and if you ever stayed around for a soccer match, you'll see, this goes Sounders or Reign, right? I've seen it for both. Um, there are the players who don't get as many or didn't like get a large amount of minutes. They're running. Some of them have get like little drills after, right?
Yeah, doing conditioning.
Jess was hurt. Oh, it must have been last year actually. Yeah, because Z was there. Sad. Um, Jess was hurt, but she stayed like I was there a good hour or so after at Lumen Field. Jess is there watching and yelling and encourage like she doesn't have to be there. She's with her partner. They could have easily just gone and fucked off and done whatever they wanted to. They're there talking to these younger players that that shit matters. And so often it feels like with some stuff like that, when I ask about it, this is part of me growing in my career, but it's just essentially the question is, well, why do you care to do that? Because, and again, you can phrase it better, but it's like you could just easily not give a shit. You could pack your bag, go home, like see some players leave. Like I see Maddie Darlene, Jordan Heidema, and a few other the younger players after practices this year begging to do more drills because they want to get better in their finishing. Like they're begging Scott Park. They're like, please, more service. Like they're trying to get. So I don't know if shit like that rubs off. It's important. So
Well, and the thing I would add to that is I think a lot of people think that to get better, the only thing you need is like personal motivation and to try harder.
mm,
And while that is a big part of it, it doesn't really matter how hard you try if no one is teaching you and helping you. Because what are you learning then? Like, yeah, sure, you can maybe learn to, maybe kick a ball slightly differently or do this thing, but how do you know what is the right pass to make or the right positioning to be in? Like, you learn those kinds of things through greats of the game. That's why it's so important to have a good coach, right? Because you're not going to get better if that coach can't teach you better things to do. And so, as much as that individual effort is very important, and probably like 80-90% of it, to be really, really great, you need really great people helping you and teaching you and pushing you to be better and giving you their wisdom. Lynn talked about, wanting to help Maddie be better than she ever was and hopefully, avoid pitfalls that she had in her career and stuff like that. Like, you want those kinds of players because they've made the mistakes, right? You don't need to make that mistake. You can make a different mistake and you will make mistakes, but you can avoid the ones that people already know to avoid. Like, there is so much to be gained from having someone knowledgeable and who wants to teach around and play. Jess is both one of the most knowledgeable players in the game and one who really wants to support the younger generation and teach people and make them better. And I don't think that's a replaceable thing in any way, shape, or form.
all of that to say, any doubt about those two is blasphemous. All
Yes,
right.
should not be around us. We don't
No.
approve, don't appreciate.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I need my Laura Soundbird. Um,
Sound bird.
Soundbird. Yeah, we'll get one of those
Yeah,
too. Claws, soundboard, soundbirds.
yeah, yep.
Goodness, I gotta remember who they play now. Oh yes, Washington. Ooh, the Spirit. The Spirit are always such a pain in the ass. God damn it. Oh my
But
God.
they're very injured and they've been letting in a lot of goals. So this is another one where I'm like, I'm looking to see multiple goals scored and to not let goals in because they have also scored a lot of like stoppage time game winners.
Oh
So,
Jesus.
so that's where I'm like, if you're holding a 1-0 lead until 10 minutes into stoppage time, that may not matter because they have scored many stoppage time goals.
So Laura's gonna have like heart and throat till like she's basically on the field post match, basically.
Might be a little bit of a stressful one. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
You never know. See how it pans out.
Um, this is a tough one for folks who because there's largely a crossover, right, with Rain fans and Storm fans.
Yeah, lots of
So
us gays.
yeah, the Rain match on the 23rd against the Spirit. That's Friday the 23rd. Oops, I went into the Storm media site. That's not gonna help me right now. Um, is on May 23rd, Friday, 7 p.m. start. If you're not attending, you can watch it on Amazon Prime Video. I'm sure Bella will have it up on Amazon Prime Video from
Yeah,
the Storm media seating. The
yeah.
Storm play at the same I almost said I did say exam, yes, exact
Mm-hmm.
same time of 7 p.m. It's their home opener
Yeah,
against the Phoenix Mercury on Ion.
yeah.
Oh, I gotta use Ion. Bella, can you just like FaceTime me the game like this, and I'll just watch it like that? Fucking Ion. God
You
damn
can
it.
get it on like Tubi or something. Freebie, all of those ones. That's your
Sure.
best bet.
Something. I'll just hack into the CPA security feed. It's fine. Um so you've got your choice. I would just say that's a
Watch
difficult
both.
decision to make. If you're going to
Whichever game
attend,
you're at, have the other game on your phone in your lap.
yes. If you're going to attend, if you have nothing to do on Friday, go to one of these things. Like actively go and support them. Um, yeah. So goodness, until we see you from after the Spirit match, um, take care of yourselves, be well, do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all the away games for Seattle Reign FC this year?
Away games. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See y'all here.